everyone. My name is Sanika Mate, your friend, your guide, and your mentor from IMS, who is here to, with the another episode of the Campus Insider. Everything you want to know about the IPM at IIM Rohtak. Okay. And what we are going to cover today, what is our agenda? Our agenda will be some information about IPM Rohtak, introduction to our panelists who are currently studying at IIM Rohtak and pursuing the IPM course. Then we would discuss about the prep for IPMAT Rohtak in terms of how they have managed their boards and how entrance tests, this is a question which keeps on coming all the time. How did they manage? And I'm sure they would enlighten you with their experience. After that, we would speak about their experience with IPMAT Rohtak, their interview for the IPM Rohtak. And it's something which is not easy. So I'm sure you would gain a lot of insight from their experience. And then we would look at their life on campus. How is life at IIM Rohtak? Because you're part of IIM, which is very, very prestigious institute. And then we would look at the academic aspect of it. And then we will take your questions. Without any further ado, let's start with the introduction for the IPM program. Okay, what is IPM? Basically, it is the integrated program in management. And what exactly it is, a lot of you are not aware of it, is what I understand. So just to give you a very gist of it, it's a 5-year program offered by IIMs and 5 IIMs and other institutes. So you enter after 12th and you clear after completing your MBA. So it is a 3 plus 2 years degree. Some IIMs offer the course with BA and MBA, and some offers this course with BBA plus MBA. You have the option of exiting after 3 years after taking your 3-year degree. So in case if you say that I want to exit possibly an IIM Rohtak after 3 years and look out for a better IIM, you have that option. Best part, you are able to secure a seat of MBA even after 12, which is again which is very good because you know that your 5 years will be at a stretch. More about IPM at IIM Rohtak. IIM Rohtak, I'm sure you all would have know what exactly it is. It is one of the prestigious management institute. It was founded back in 2009. They started this particular course in 2018. They have an entrance test based on which they kind of filter the students, and that test is called IPMAT Rohtak. For you to appear for the IPMAT Rohtak, you need to be less than 20 years of age. So there is a cutoff. If you are about 20, then the best way to get into IIM Rohtak would be giving CAT. If you want to appear, again, there is an eligibility criteria here. If you are of either of the categories, 60% and 55% is the cutoff. Based on this is what you would be able to go ahead and apply for an IPMAT Rohtak, or rather an IPM at IIM Rohtak. Mind you, there is an asterisk there which clearly mentions that criteria will change or may change every year. So it's not that this would be the thing. By the time it will be 25 students who would be appearing, there will be a little bit of change which would happen, and we would definitely go ahead and let you know about it. Okay, moving on. What is the most important question which students I'm sure are not aware is what I am kind of being told. The test pattern. You all are preparing for IPMAT Rohtak. This is what you are preparing for. IPMAT Rohtak, the test pattern goes as there is quantitative ability, all are MCQs, there is no short answer based. So logical reasoning, verbal ability, 40 marks each, 40 questions each. The marking scheme, again, very clear. +4, -1, 0 for unattempted questions. And the cutoff, if you can see on your screen, it has grown from last year to 2023. So again, 24 students, 25 students. This climb will not be easy, but it doesn't mean you give up. You just need to make sure that you put extra effort. All right. With this, we are done with the information on IPM at IIM Rohtak. If you have any further questions, please do let us know. We would be able to help you. We have Niket Parekh with us today. A little insight on his profile. Niket is from Vadodara. He has done his schooling in 12th from Vadodara, and he is a student with an excellent marking of 93.20 in 10th and 94.80 in 12th. Okay, and again, not a single student will only kind of plan for only one entrance test. They will definitely look at an application strategy, as we discussed in the last episode. They have also appeared for NPAT, Christ University, MSU, which is the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University. Am I right, Niket? Have I
Yes,
pronounced
ma'am.
it right?
Yes.
Fantastic. IPMAT Indore, GIPMAT, and IPMAT Rohtak. And GIPMAT, the percentile is amazing, 99.4. That's Niket Parekh. Niket Parekh, thank you so much for joining for Campus Insider today.
Happy to be here. Hello.
Thank you. We have next with us Krish. Krish is he's from Pune, and he has done his schooling from Sardar Dastoor Home Hormasdiyar High School, Sanchester. And he has done his 12th from Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce. Again, a 90 plus scorer here, 10th and 12th, fantastic. And he as well have appeared for IPMAT Indore, Rohtak, NPAT, Christ, and SET. Thank you again, Krish, for being a part of the Campus Insider Feed.
Thank you.
Most welcome. And last but not the least, we have Harsh with us. Harsh is again a Vadodara student, done his 10 and 12 from Delhi Public School. Again, a 90 plus scorer. And again, I mean, this is something which is very, very nice. And NPAT AIR 6. I am sure all of you would be appearing for NPAT. So you would get a lot of information here from the best. Christ University entrance test he has appeared for IPMAT Indore. Look at the scores, and he received the IPMAT Rohtak offer letter. He was called for the interview there and then received the letter. So thank you, Harsh, for joining in today.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's start with from the start point of your journey. Okay. How was your IPMAT Rohtak? Pardon my spelling mistake there. How was your prep for the IPMAT Rohtak? How did you balance your boards and the entrance test? Who would go first? Harsh?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I joined IMS Vadodara for the preparation for IPMAT Indore, Rohtak, and PAT. And yeah, I started my preparation in the beginning of 12th. And I have a background in commerce with maths. So I started preparation for that. And initially, I was preparing for boards because I also had a target to get into SRCC. And in my 12th year, we had 2 terms, term 1 and term 2, due to the COVID. So I was preparing for term 1, and after my term 1 got over, I got to know that getting into SRCC, you have to appear for CUET. So I immediately switched my focus to IPMAT preparation. And from December onwards, I had somewhat around 6 months to prepare for this. So I started preparing for it. I was more focused on verbal ability because I was kind of weak in that area. So I prepared for around 5 to 6 hours in library, and then at night for another 4 to 5 hours in the initial 3 months. Then I had to make a plan to balance my boards and my IPMAT preparation because the boards were approaching. The term 2 examination was approaching, and it was in about a month or two. So I made a planner. I divided my entire 24 hours into different parts, and I assigned each part a certain preparation. I prepared equally 50% for boards and IPMAT because I still had time after my boards to further continue my preparation for IPMAT. So I was kind of more focused towards boards because getting into IPMAT Rohtak, even boards score is important. They have around 10 to 20% weightage. I don't remember that. So yeah, that was my preparation plan.
Thank you so much. 5 to 6 hours every day.
Yeah, I used
Okay.
to go in the library in the morning and prepare for 6 to 7 hours in the library, and then I used to come home, freshen up, and then again at night I used to study for IPMAT or boards, whatever.
Wow. So clearly getting into IPM is not it's not easy, but it's worth it, is what I would say. What about you, Niket? How have been your journey? How did you balance?
Yeah, so pretty much like Harsh, I also started in my 12th standard, but I was never really, inclined towards preparing for boards because getting into Delhi University was not one of my primary aims. Initially, I just wanted to, go for an NPAT or exams like that. But then towards the mid of my 12th, my target shifted towards IIMs, that is IIM Indore and Rohtak. So just like everybody, I started going to the library very frequently. I and Harsh were actually study buddies. So we used to practice sums and go to the library together. So when I used to sit for 6 to 7 hours daily in the library, and a good thing that happened to us was during COVID, all the classes were shifted to the online mode, right? So none of us really paid attention to what was going on in the class. We used to just mute the class on our phone and keep it aside, and then while the classes were going on, we used to practice for IPMAT. And as soon as lunch struck, we finished up our lunch, went home, and after freshening up, I used to study at home. That was another 3 to 4 hours. Nothing of boards. I only prepared for boards around towards the last 2 months, I would say. So my whole
Okay.
focus was on IPMAT.
I must say that even if you have prepared for the last 2 months for boards, your numbers have been very, very impressive. I mean, और ज्यादा focus होता तो क्या 100?
पता नहीं.
Okay, thank you so much, Niket, for that. And Krish, what about you? You are coming from a different city. They both were study buddies. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of help has been received from there. What about you? You coming
So,
from Pune, was it any different for you when it comes to prep?
so I joined IMS halfway through my 11th grade. So I had kind of a lot of time to prepare for IPMAT. And initially, my focus was IPMAT. So I had done with the syllabus. I was done with the syllabus by May end. That is before my 12th grade started. So I did have a lot of time at hand. And so for me, it was around 2 and 3 hours of daily studies. And but what worked for me was being able to do it consistently. So uh, it happened that I didn't miss any study session. Like I used to study 3 hours or 2 hours every day. So that's what worked for me. And for both, I too had prepared just for the last 2 months. I started preparing after the notice for prelims was out. So that's how it went.
Great. So again, either you be consistent or you make sure that you increase the number of hours if you are looking forward to clear the IPMAT Rohtak is what my takeaway is. Okay, this is something which is for the same kind of questions we I'm asking you. Taranveer Singh is asking just a question: how to manage going to school tuitions while simultaneously giving test for every board subject and then also appearing for IPMAT. I'm sure all three of you have gone through this. Krish, starting with you, Taranveer is asking how to manage. ये manage कैसे करें? आपने कैसे manage
Firstly,
किया?
you need to prioritize what your aim is. So you need to decide between boards and the entrance prep. Both of them are equally important, but while preparing, you need to give priorities to what you want to do. And then, you can manage. You need to have a proper schedule as to how you'll go about it, and segregate things like I'll prepare for boards for X hours and for test prep X hours. That's how you should do.
Anything you would like to add, Niket and Harshya?
Yeah, one thing that if you are aiming towards, excelling in both the areas, that is your boards and your IPMAT, you need to sacrifice on some of the things. One of them being social life. You genuinely need to decrease the number of Instagram hours and YouTube hours, just because you are aiming at something that is very tough. That's what I'm saying. So that's where time component becomes your best friend. If you're losing out on time, you need to sacrifice on some or the other things. For me, football was like just right next to my IPMAT prep, but towards the end of my 12th, I had to sacrifice on the amount of time I gave to football and playing, because at the end of the day, this is important, and you need to prioritize that. If I'm aiming for such a hard thing, I need to manage my time better than most of India, I would say. So managing time becomes very, very crucial.
Just to add to what Niket said, see, sacrificing on your social life does not mean you cut it out completely. For me personally, I personally felt that 1 or 2 hours of freshening up time, it was very important for me to rejuvenate that energy. My dad also used to tell me that at any point of time, if you feel like you are stressed, you are frustrated, just take a day off. Just take a day off. It will rejuvenate your energy, and you will come back. You'll bounce back stronger. You'll have that energy the next day to study even harder. So that's one point that I just wanted to clear it out.
I would not deny to all three of you. Absolutely not. Okay. If you are looking at achieving something, त्याग, sacrifice, जरूरी है. But again, when you know कि all work no play make Jack a dull boy, there is a saying. So अगर बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ाई कर लिया ना, फिर भी दिमाग में कुछ नहीं घुसेगा. So make sure that you guys are balancing. And now, what is the balance? What is your balance? Is what you will have to search for yourself. When you know that you're burning out, take a break. But make sure that there is a consistency which is there in your preparation, as Krish mentioned. As Niket said, a little sacrifice is important, but not to a point where that burns you out, because it's just kind of drying out, the fun aspect from your life. बहुत ज़्यादा serious हो गया तो भी नहीं पढ़ पाओ. Okay, I hope that answers the question. All of you, as I mentioned at the start, that once you give your IPMAT Rohtak, that's a filter round. So the selected students are getting called for IPMAT Rohtak Interview, which is a panel which is there to speak to you, to have conversation. Okay, I don't want to scare anybody here, but it's serious business, clearly. Okay, where they understand the age bracket you come from, but what is expected out of you is to answer questions and know what you like very well. Okay, so let's get some more deep dive into and more insight on what is IPMAT Rohtak Interview all about and their experience. Okay, who would go first? Harsh, let's start with you.
Yes.
What has been your IPMAT Rohtak, facing IIM panel? How was
Yes.
it?
So I'll tell you. My panelists included two people. One was a ma'am and one sir. So okay, there are two different personalities. Ma'am was continuously smiling and she was giving good vibes. But at the same time, sir was trying to intimidate me. He was constantly ignoring what I was talking about. He ordered biscuits, he ordered tea, and he was completely uninterested in what I was speaking. But I kind of anticipated that, because that's something that I was prepared for. It was told to me by my mentor that this is something that they do quite oftenly, because they try to check your confidence level. So initially, they first ask a question about extemper. It's an extemper. So they give you a question and you have around 30 to 40 seconds to think about it. And then you have to, speak for 1 minute on that topic. I'll explain what an extemper is.
Yes.
So basically what they do is they give you a topic on the spot. You don't know about it before. They give you a topic on the spot. They give you around 30 to 40 seconds to think about that topic. And then you have to speak for about 1 minute on that topic. Right. So I was given the topic Facebook versus LinkedIn. Now, I would say handled it quite well, not up to the mark, but I handled it. And after that, they started with the academics. Okay, so they first asked me what were my favorite subjects. I told them about my favorite subject. I told them it was economics. And they told, okay, so then I'll ask you a maths question. So then they started with the academics. They grilled me on that. And they did not ask me much questions on my personal background. But towards the end, they asked me about I'm inclined towards music. So they asked me a couple of questions on music. And yeah, that was it. That was my interview. It lasted for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, 10 to 15 minutes. Is we can say, Harsh, was it like a nice grilling session? Can you say that? Where you were poked and were kind of tested to show your personality?
Yes, I would definitely say that. Every even the IIM Indore interview, as well as this IIM Rohtak interview, both were grilling interview sessions. And they essentially they want to check your confidence level. So they are going to grill you and you have to be prepared for that.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Uh, moving to Niket. Niket, was it the same grilling session कि आपकी grilling थोड़ी ज़्यादा होगी?
No, actually, for me, it was a kind of a roller coaster ride. So,
Okay.
same in my panel, there were two people. One was a lady and one was a sir. The lady was kind of easygoing and shy and not speaking as much, whereas the sir was just there to test my academics. He asked nothing else, just academics. So they would take turns to ask me questions. For me, I prepared a presentation, a deck on myself. So when they asked me to introduce myself, I just presented my screen and did a 5-minute presentation on myself. What I am, where do I come from, what's my family background, what are my interests, here are my certificates. So basically, I was flaunting myself. So essentially, the questions came out of that presentation first, and also I made sure to hang a few of my medals and trophies just behind my back so that interviewers could see that. So it started off easy, where the ma'am started asking me about my hobbies, my interests. She asked me a few questions about football, my achievements, whatnot. And then the sir interrupted the lady in between to ask me the topic of extemper. He first asked me that whether do I read newspapers or not. I said yes. He asked me to present some 5 headlines from yesterday's news or day before's newspaper. I did that, and one of them was an news on Agniveer, right? So he asked me to speak on Agniveer, and he gave me a minute to prepare. But luckily, during my interview preparation, Tridal sir, who was my mentor, he had prepared me thoroughly on a few topics that he was sure that was going to come in the interview. And one of them was Agniveer. So even though I was given a minute, after just 20 seconds, I told sir, can I start? So he said, yeah, sure. And then I gave a 1.5 to 2 minute extemper on that. But yeah, as I said, the sir was, just there to grill me. He was not happy with that. So he threw me another topic. I was like, yeah, fine with that. Now give me a topic on Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka crisis was a topic given to her. So I was well versed with that topic as well. And in that as well, I did not take more than 10 to 15 seconds. And then I spoke about that as well. But again, the sir was not happy. So he said, okay, fine. What if you were the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka? How would you solve the crisis? Give me 3 pointers. Now, that is where I got stuck a little bit. And then I saw him smiling a bit. But still, due to my background in commerce and due to a bit of knowledge in economics, that is macroeconomics, I made up a few pointers and gave it to him, which were obviously wrong, but doesn't matter. He was just trying to check my presence of mind, right? Then he asked me a few questions about my academics that were easy, not too hard, not too easy, I would say. And then they ended by, those basic questions that why I would like to be in IPMAT, what is my vision for the next 5 years, why not IPMAT Indore and IPM Rohtak. So those kind of questions. My interview lasted around for 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay. Krish, what about you? How was your experience?
So my interview was very unstructured as such. So they started with academics. They were grilling me on economics and maths. And then while I was answering, suddenly a professor interrupted and gave me my extempore topic, and immediately asked asked me to start speaking. So that is how it went. And then, I mean, it was kind of very unstructured. They were interrupting me in between, asking multiple questions. Like when they were asking about my academics, it was like a rapid fire, one question here, one question there. They asked me to draw a few graphs of economics. They asked me to solve a few calculus sums. So that's how it was. But from what I know, like after speaking to one of the visiting professors here who also takes these interviews, he told us that there are four key parameters where they judge you on. That's academics, your co-curriculars, your communication skills, and your knowledge of current affairs.
Tejas Kumar is asking, I got 346 and the cutoff for OBC went 349. I was curious that you still have the chance after just clearing the cutoff on boundary. It also depends, Tejas, in terms of your personal interview. Okay, so it's not just about the cutoff, but in terms of your overall profile, which is given weightage, and that's how it is decided. Yes, Nikhil.
Yeah, so just to clear out that the Rohtak follows a system where you are not, made aware of your marks if if at all you clear the cutoff. As in last year, our cutoff was 306, but I still don't know what my marks were as I cleared the cutoff. And people who clear the cutoff are just made, just informed that they have cleared the cutoff and that they have to appear for the personal interview round. No specific marks are given to any candidate shortlisted. The marks that are given are only to those candidates who miss the cutoff, and only they are provided with the exact marks they scored.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. That was a very clear answer. I hope, Tejas, that answers your question. Anika is asking the next question we have from Anika. She's asking, if your 12th percentage is not so good, then what could be done to cover up for that? And what could be the problems to be faced along with their solution? Anika, the percentage what we have seen here are basically the eligibility criteria for you to apply for IPMAT Rohtak. So if you're not even able to score a 55%, then I'm afraid you would not be eligible to apply. But it doesn't really end of IPM here. You might not be able to possibly join IPM at an IIM, but you would always be able to join a BBA, and CAT is always an option if you're looking at applying for or studying in an IIM. If 12 scores are not good, and IIM is not really, IPM is not really, is accessible at that point in time, you can't apply, then that's the only option which I can see. Or you can do IPM with some other universities. There are private universities like Nalsar, IIFT, OP Jindal, Kriya, and I'm missing one more, Tapni. 5 other private universities where you would be able to do IPM with. Vedika is asking, how many attempts do you have for IPMAT Rohtak? Who will answer this? It's only one. There is no other attempt. It's not NPAT. It's not SET. It is IPMAT for IIM. Bas ek tick. Moving to the next question. Mihansh Bhari is asking how to manage time if students is from science stream. Niket, Harsh, Krish, is there any difference for a science stream student? Harsh, go ahead.
See, if you are from a science background, one of the benefits that you have is you are strong in maths, at least better than those who don't have maths as their background. So you can focus on your verbal ability scores because that's something that many of the students miss out on. I did not pay attention to verbal ability, and it was only after I gave a couple of mocks that I got to know that verbal ability is somewhere I'm lacking. So start working upon verbal ability from this point of time and make sure that you get a good score in that, because that carries 50% weightage in IIM Indore, I guess, and in this IPMAT Rohtak as well. It carries a lot of weightage. So focus on your verbal ability if you are from a science background. Does not mean that you leave maths, but make sure that you are simultaneously solving a couple of sums every now and then, and yeah, you will be able to manage your time.
What should I do to cope up in verbal ability too? So, Krish, Niket, any of you had a problem with verbal ability and how did you manage? Krish, would you like to answer this? Niket, I'll take up, your answer as well. Krish, would you like to possibly, let us know how did you manage with verbal
So
ability?
since I had a lot of time at hand, it started with reading newspaper editorials and all of that. But there's this book called Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. So that really helps in building up your vocabulary. And when it came to RCs, it was referring to the SAT material on Khan Academy. So basically for RCs, if you solve one or two RC a day, that keeps you going. Like that's good enough.
Priyanshi is asking, boys, that I didn't score well in boards, not above 90%. So, would it affect the selection? Do you know any student? Because I know few who have not scored 90 but able to crack IPMAT Rohtak. Are you aware of that? Or would you be able to help Priyanshi with this particular question?
Yeah, so unless your scores are very, very terrible, they won't make much of a difference on your IPMAT score. As Harsh earlier mentioned it, the boards carry 10 to 20% weightage. The rest 80% depends on your IPMAT scores and your interview. So if you are confident enough that you'll be able to cover up the deficit in your boards, you're good to go.
Fantastic, fantastic. Harsh is asking what kind of questions they ask in interview. What kind of questions? It's a conversation, Harsh, which is done, and it starts with tell me something about yourself, and then it is all depends upon what kind of answers which is being given. So it will ask about your academics, it will ask about the current affairs, and anything precise you guys would be able to mention, Krish, Harsh, Niket, anything in particular which is asked, any topic which you would be able to help the students with. Krish, complete yourself. Niket, I will
Yeah,
take
so
your
they definitely will ask you questions based on your 11th and 12th standard academies. Like preparation of that is a must. You need to be very well versed with your academics.
Okay. Niket, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, one small point. This is something many of the students ignore. Even some of my peers ignored it during their interviews. Is that know your college thoroughly? That is, if you're applying to IIM Rohtak, I even saw a group chat where a student was asked, "What does the IIM Rohtak logo mean?" So even that kind of intricate detail should be, prepared. So if you are applying to IIM Rohtak, know each and every detail about IIM Rohtak, the number of clubs, committees, the layout of the website. This is an actual question from an interview. What does the IIM Rohtak website look like? So even that, the curriculum subjects, the number of terms, go to LinkedIn, search about the clubs, search about the committees. Few of the questions might come from that area as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Niket. That was very helpful. Bhuvan is asking, how will you be communicated once the interview is done? Email. That's how you are being communicated. All selected students do receive emails where they are told that they are selected, and all the communication rest is done on email. Madhav Sunava is asking, the interview is conducted online or offline? It is online. The interview is done online because the students who apply are pan India. So to make sure that it is done in a much more better or executed in a better manner, it's done online. It might change, and I'm sure if it's changed, we would be communicated and you all would be done. What type of qualities should we need to fire the interview? Wow, that's a good question. What qualities, what type of qualities? Harsh is smiling, Niket is smiling. Harsh, please go ahead. What kind of qualities do we need?
See, you need to be confident. That's the first main point that they look for. They want to see they will check your confidence level. Second is your communication skills, as Krish mentioned before. Communication skills is a skill that is widely used in the management field. And even once you are selected for the course, communication skills is something that will be used in every other course. So they'll test you on that as well.
So that's the key. The qualities is the communication skills. It will not only help you in the interview, Adarsh, I can definitely assure you it will help you beyond that as well. It is a skill which is worth developing. So if any of you feels that communication skills mere अच्छे नहीं है, start working on it. Rajul Baharia is asking how about the safety around and outside the campus at IIM Rohtak. Is it safe? Let me ask this. Is it safe around IIM Rohtak? Because this question has been kind of popping up every now and then. Niket, yes,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, multiple guards are there on duty all the time. Also, the campus is not actually in Rohtak. It is around 20 to 25 minutes away from the main city. So you don't have as many people residing around the campus. It's mainly, agricultural land or pasture lands, and it is just next to the highway. So it's not per se unsafe, but yeah, it's not actually in Rohtak as well. So anything you read about Rohtak being unsafe is limited to the Rohtak city. Uh, we are away from that part of the city.
Okay.
So yeah.
So it is pretty safe. You don't really have to worry on that particular aspect. Are on-screen calculators available for IPMAT Rohtak? Harsh, Niket, is calculator online or on-screen calculator?
No.
I don't think
No,
so. I don't remember using a calculator for the IPMAT Rohtak exam.
No,
it's
no, it
not.
wasn't present.
It's not available. Okay, so
No.
no, Keshav, you can't use calculator, unfortunately. Most importantly, when you go to a hostel and when you're right now in the campus, how exactly is the campus vibe? And starting with the dress code. What's the dress code? Is it like a very formal kind of dressing which is expected out of you all?
So you'll
Uh,
be made to buy 5 institute t-shirts of 5 different colors on the first day of your college.
Niket, there's a lot of
So that
static.
is the dress code. Do we follow it? No. Only when there is a mail regarding that is a there are times when the institute or the office mails us that we are required to wear those t-shirts. Only the week following that mail, people follow that dress code.
Okay, okay. Uh, Krish, would you be able to help us with the clubs? What kind of clubs or what all the other clubs which are available with IIM Rohtak for IPM
Yeah, so
students?
we have 4 clubs for the IPM batch. We have the literature club, the cultural club, uh, yeah, and we also have 2 committees. We also have the social welfare club, and there are 2 committees. One is the academic committee and the internship committee.
Yeah, so we have 4 clubs: cultural club, literature club, social welfare club, and the sports club. The literature club and the culture club have 4 different societies under them, and they have different verticals that they take care of. And then we have 2 committees: internship committee and the academic committee. So the festivals are celebrated by the cultural club. The sports events are conducted by the sports club, and every club has their own forte that they look after. And yeah, that's all about clubs and committees.
Beyond that, what about the breaks? How often do you get breaks? In terms of like on the weekends or Sunday free hota hai, Saturday half day hota hai. How does it work? Uh, I think Nikit's internet issue is resolved. Nikit, would you like to add something to that? As in, how often do you get breaks in terms of your hostel
Yeah.
life or the
So
studies?
as and when the term ends, we have 3 terms, right? So as and when a term ends, you get a term break that is typically of 5 days, 5 to 6 days long term break. Apart from that, you also get a Diwali vacation, which is again of 5 to 6 days. Apart from that, every festival and festivities you get restricted holidays, meaning there would be no classes conducted on that day per se, but you are not allowed to go on home unless you apply for a leave separately.
Okay. So you get decent breaks. Matlab every 3 months, 5 days, and then Diwali May, and then whenever you need chutti, you can kind of go ahead and take it. Fair
Yes.
enough. Uh, Now, beyond this, uh, how does your day looks like in IM Rohtak? It starts with yoga, is what I remember with a campus meet, what we did. So IM Rohtak has every morning, all the students do yoga, right? Am I right with saying that? Yeah,
We are
everyone is
called for yoga. Everyone does
get
yoga as
called
well.
for yoga. And not everybody joins, is what I heard from all the students. But beyond that, what does a typical day looks like? Uh, Harsh, can you please, let us know what is a typical day in IM Rohtak for IPM students?
Yeah, so you wake up at 5:30, you get ready for yoga, you come back at 7, you either sleep it off till you have your first class, or you hit the gym, you go for breakfast, and then you come back. Then there's classes scheduled for the entire day. We have a lunch break in between, so we have 1.5 hour lunch break in between. 5:20 the classes get over. After 5:20 till 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock is our hostel in time. So 5:20 to 9 o'clock is your time, your time. You can do whatever you want to do in that time. You can either go play football, you can chat with your friends, you can meet up with them. So that's your time. After 9 o'clock, you are back in your hostel, and then you complete your assignments, or you do whatever, you sleep early because you have yoga the next day. But yeah, that's a typical day at IIM Rohtak.
Typical day. And 7 o'clock वापस आने के बाद में when is the first class? So how many hours do you get to sleep off? I love my sleep.
So the classes start at 10:20 in the morning. There are some cruel days where the classes are starting at 8:45, but वो एके दुक्के होंगे महीने में 2 या 3 बार, not more than that.
Not
Otherwise,
for
generally 10:20 to 5:30 are the classes scheduled. That too, not every day is a 4 class day. That is, not every day you would be having 4 classes. There are days where you only have 2 class. There are days when you only have 1 class. So according to that, every day's schedule is different in terms
Are
of
you
class.
guys in terms of class? Okay. Are you allowed to go out? Krish, if you can answer this question for us, are you allowed to go out of the campus on weekdays, or is there a curfew? We have uh, we have Rujul who is asking this question. Are students allowed to
So
go out on the campus over the weekend or weekdays?
we are allowed to leave the campus only on Sundays, and that too from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if you're going out of the campus, you actually need 80% attendance in yoga. Uh, Only once you fulfill the attendance requirements, you'll be allowed to leave the campus on Sundays.
Now, what about hostel? How the hostel is available with twin sharing or co-sharing basis? Harsh, would you be able to help us in terms of the hostel life? Is it how is the hostel for IIM Rohtak?
So in the first year, we have 4 sharing rooms. So in the first year, you are supposed to share your room with 3 other roommates. And now currently we are in a room where we are 4 roommates, but it's a room in room, 2 BHK room. So that's typically twin sharing room. And even in the third year, it's a twin sharing room. So that's how it progresses. In the first year, you are made to live in a room that's basically the worst room that the campus has. And then progressively, as you go ahead in the course, you are given better rooms, better rooms, better rooms.
You're gradually given a little bit more respect. 8 साल complete हो गया, little bit
Yes.
you're upgraded. You're upgraded.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Okay. With this, we cover a lot of aspects of IIM Rohtak. And now, boys, we have a very big task with us of answering all the questions we have here. Is strategy or current affair important? Uh, We will take one by one. So once Harsh, one question, Krish, and then Nikki. We go accordingly. Okay. Harsh, starting with you. Is static GK or current affairs important?
See, as far as your interview is concerned, it is very important. In the entrance exam, it's not a separate section, so you don't have to prepare for that for the entrance exam. But as far as interview preparation is concerned, it is very important because the interview is essentially divided into three parts: academics, your personal background questions, and your current affairs. And generally, the extemporary questions are from current affairs or the static GK. So, and even for your verbal ability preparation, it is important that you regularly read newspapers, articles, you listen to different podcasts. So it is quite important in order to get into IIM Rohtak.
Fantastic. Sanidhya is asking, Krish, starting, if you can answer this. Is there any criteria for interview? Uh, do you know, is there any particular criteria for interview, Krish?
For shortlisting for the interviews, they primarily check your cutoff for the IPMAT exam. And while marking you for the interview, there are four categories. So it's your knowledge about your academics, current affairs, your communication skills, and what are your co-curricular or extracurricular activities.
Okay. So I hope that answers the question. Thank you so much, Krish. Niket, this particular question is for you. When should I start my serious preparation for IPMAT as a humanities student? My subjects are history, political science, psychology, and art. And can I take a course from a coaching center for a year and do well? So I think Krish started the prep early, while Niket, you have done that 1 year program, which is with IMS. Okay. So is 1 year enough to prepare for IPMAT?
This is a very subjective question, I would say, because every student's pace of picking up concepts is different. But as I heard the subjects, I'm assuming that there is not a lot of exposure to maths per se. So I believe that 1 year should be dedicated to IPMAT Prep, as the course is very vast, and to cover each and every concept in detail, because that is something which is advised. You need an year, which is a comfortable timing, so if you don't want to hurry up in your prep and you don't want to work 10 hours like a donkey, a 1 year timeline is sufficient to cover each and every concept in detail with good quality questions.
The next question. Does extracurricular matter, as I'm a dropper and I don't have much certificates? Will I be having any disadvantages? Harsh, this one's for you. Extracurricular weightage.
So they don't as such give weightage to extracurriculars, but it does matter as far as the interview is concerned, because they want to see that you are dedicated towards a hobby. For example, I have music as my hobby. I have been pursuing that. Niket has football as his hobby. So that shows that you are showing dedication in something that you're pursuing. That's a good uh, impression that you're leaving on the panelists. But if you don't have a good extracurricular profile, it does not make a significant difference in your chances to get into the college, because you can obviously impress them at some other area that you are good at, and it does not carry a specific weightage. So you have the floor open. You can direct them towards something that you have knowledge about. So it's only limited to the interview preparation. So you can drive the interview where you want it to go.
Niket, please go ahead,
Yes.
add something. I think you have raised your hand because you wanted to add something to that question.
Yeah, and adding on to that, activities is not just, playing an instrument or playing a sport or having achieved something at the national level. It can be something very basic. So, like one of my friend added a hobby that is listening to podcasts. It is such a simple thing, but he modeled it. He modeled the answers such that he could present this thing as his hobby. Another hobby could be listening to music. This is also a hobby. So it does not need to be something at very exceptional level, or having certificates, or having something written down that you are good at this thing or that thing. If you love doing something, that is your hobby, that is your interest, right? So you need to model that thing and present it such that it's a hobby, it's a co-curricular.
Also, just to add something to that, it doesn't mean that you just pick up anything and you speak, because when you say something about that you like listening to music, they will start asking about the genre. Then they will start asking about what artist you are listening to, just to see if you're really speaking the truth, or is it just, just you have picked up because you wanted to kind of answer that in the interview. So just make sure that whatever you prepare for, you're in an interview, you just need to make sure that you present as you are and what you are. You don't be another person. You be completely truth to yourself while you are answering. Okay. Priyanshi and Tejasvi raising hands. Okay, I would allow you guys to talk. Starting with Tejasvi. Tejasvi, you want to speak? If I'm assuming. Okay, so I'm giving you the permission to talk here.
Yeah, I am a Tejashwi's mother. She is not
Yes,
here.
Tejasvi. Yes,
So
ma'am.
I
Yes,
have a
please go ahead.
question that about the extracurricular other thing like in a interview based also it will be there in IMS, like whatever the topics in a real world we are going ahead, that topics also will be covered.
Ma'am, are you referring to the VAT topics as in the extempore where जहाँ but जैसे अभी हमने बात की थी कि एक topic दिया जाएगा and the students are supposed to speak. Are you referring to those particular topics where
Yes.
student needs to be aware of it?
Yeah, right.
Yes. So let me answer, ma'am. Yes. Before once the student is selected for the IPMAT or any interview-based, test, when the interview is approaching, we make sure there is a list which is rolled out of the possible questions which will be asked to students. Okay, so we make sure students are prepared way well in advance about the topics. So topics unko diye jaye. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Most welcome, ma'am. Okay, moving to okay, we have Vincent as well and Tejasvi. Okay, Tejasvi raised her hand. Tejasvi, yes, Tejasvi, please go
No,
ahead.
by mistake it got, ma'am.
Okay,
By mistake it got.
no problem, no problem. Yes, Vincent, please let us know what is your question.
Hi, I'm Vincent. So my question is specifically to Harsh. What I wanted to ask was if he got the offer letter from IIM Indore as well, then what were the reasons that he chose to stay at IIM Rohtak?
Yeah, I did not get an offer letter from IIM Indore. I was secured All India rank 131, but the merit list got closed on at 96. So I did not get an offer letter from IIM Indore. I sat for the interview, but my rank was 131, and the merit list got over at 96.
Can I crack IPMAT Rohtak as a non-math student? Yes, you can, but you need to make sure that you work really hard. If you're putting 2 hours, double that up, but make sure that you're putting extra efforts. Anything you would like to add, boys? Harsh, Krish, Niket, a non-math student, IPMAT, how would he be able to crack?
Very doable. Just trust the process. Do not, you might have those thoughts that you lag behind other people in the race, but trust me, it is very, very doable.
Fantastic. One of the students is asking, should a student join INS in class 11th or 12th for preparation? Now, Ria, this is a very subjective question. Okay. If you feel that you need a little bit more time, like, you are not really well versed with maths and everything would be a little bit, it would require a little bit more time for you because you need to balance your boards as well. It is more of an individual thing question. We definitely encourage students to join, the preparation in the 11th grade itself or mid-term of the 11th grade because you get time to prepare better. And the earlier you prepare, the better it is. Okay, so if you are looking forward to kind of apply and start preparing, right now is the time. And if you are in the midst of your 11th standard, go ahead and start your classes with IMS Do they only ask questions theory based or they have practical questions too? Harsh, would you be able to take this particular question? The questions which are asked in the interview, are they theory based or there are practical questions as well?
Only the academic questions are theory based. Rest all is practical knowledge. They will test you. They'll ask you. It's very unpredictable. They can ask you anything, but you have to be present in that moment. You have to show presence of mind, and mostly it will be practical questions. They'll see what it was. It will not be knowledge. It will be how are you able to apply that knowledge to different situations. And yeah, it's the theoretical questions are only limited to the academic background questions.
What if we have our own residence or house to stay? Niket, what if a student has a house in Rohtak?
No, it's a completely residential program, like most MBA programs are. You are made to stay on the campus in the hostels provided. So
Correct.
the
So
IPL course, which is also now the students of IPL, that is Integrated Program in Law, they are inducted through IPMAT as well, and they have an option of choosing not to stay on campus and choose accommodate themselves in the city by themselves.
I will be appearing for my 12th boards in 2025. So what is the cutoff to clear IPMAT Rohtak exam that year? Oh, Ria, how can I say that? Nobody would be able to predict it. This particular cutoff, what we saw this year, I mean, it was pretty high. We were not expecting something like this. So what will be, can you predict your 12th scores? If you can't, we can predict the IPMAT cutoff, darling. Sorry. Uh, with a minimum 12th class percentage required to get into IIM Rohtak by IPMAT, only 12th class percentage would not be enough. You need to have good communication skills as well. I think that will definitely help you. At the same time, make sure that whatever you are doing, you're really, you know what you're doing. I think that's what really would help you. Now, before we kind of close the session, Krish, Harsh, and Niket, with just closing the session to understand why IIM Rohtak is worth the effort you have put in. Starting with you, Krish, the effort what you have put in, okay, is it worth and why?
It's definitely worth it. It's like an experience in itself. The course curriculum we have here is very diverse, at least for the first 3 years. And we have distinguished faculty who come in from top institutes inside the country and from other global universities. And also, what matters most is the peer learning that you do here, the experience. Because each one of your peers is into something, learning new things, doing new things. So you get to learn a lot from them, and that's a great experience in itself.
All right. Uh, Harsh, what about you?
Yeah, so after you've prepared for a whole year or 2 years or 6 months or whatever it is, after you have gotten an offer letter from IIM Rohtak, it's definitely worth it once you are on campus. You will realize it sooner or later that you are getting 3 more years of B school life than other students. Other students get into an B school after graduation. They give CAT. You get 3 more years of that exposure to different students coming from all parts of the nation. You have exposure to a diverse curriculum, visiting faculty from foreign institutes as well. And this IIM life is something that is unique and that is important in developing yourself as an individual, and you will notice it that it is definitely worth it.
It's definitely worth it. What about you, Niket?
I think both of them have covered pretty much of it. I would say enjoy the process. Don't take the preparation as a burden on yourself that you have to sit for these number of hours. Actually, the few of the best memories that I have of my 12th standard is made at the IMS center. Not kidding. Maybe it may be the fun that we had with our mentors, or the time pass we did in between studies, whatever it is. So enjoy the process. That is something I would say. It makes it a lot easier.
Thank you so much, students, for joining in. And thank you. Thank you so much. Wanted to make sure that I thank all of you for taking out time from your schedule and doing this session again. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you, ma'am.